Oh wait, I'm kidding. No, that's the wrong franchise. Hello everybody, we are the Geeks and Degenerates, and today we are talking about the latest MCU movie, Thor: Love and Thunder. Once
And
again,
as a theme, I'm wearing a Thor. Oh wait,
oh well, it fits. It's 80s anyway.
I guess it looks like him.
Yeah. Anyway, this is once again directed by Taika Waititi, and of course stars Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman. And Portman comes back as the mighty Thor.
Uh
And
huh.
yeah, before we get into the story, were you excited for this one?
Yeah, it was. Oh God, you can tell that I just woke up. Yeah, it was, man. Like, I love Taika Waititi. Like, I haven't seen a movie that I got bored of when it came to Taika. So I was like, yeah, I want to see another MCU movie directed by Taika, and it looked fun. When we saw the trailers, I was like, all right, Thor's coming back. But they kind of hinted at the trailers, and I called it. And I called it. They were hinting at the trailers, sir. You asked me, I was like, do you think this is Thor's last movie? The trailers kind of make it look it,
Hmm.
but I was like, nah. This ain't Thor's last.
Yeah, I was pretty excited too, especially since I like the Jane Foster Thor run. So I was
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to this, and I was like, "Oh, cool! We have a new heroine that can last maybe 5 movies." I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure about that, but we'll get to that later. Um, but yeah, we don't start with Thor. We start with Gore in the desert with his dying daughter, and he's pleading for the gods to help, and they don't come to the rescue. But he does find paradise with the god he was pleading for, and to me, this is one problem I have because when he's talking to the god, it's a confliction of tones because Christian Bale is acting his best, but like the other guy seems like he comes from Monty Python.
Right? I was about to say the same thing. I was like, Christian Bale is pulling off this broken piece of thing so well. Like he's pulling it off, and this guy is like, "You don't matter."
Yeah,
It's exactly like that. Like, well, this guy's like pleading, crying on his knees. His daughter's dead, while this guy was like, very generic. I don't care about you. You're replaceable, guy. And I
yeah,
was like, kind of ruined the scene for me as well. And that's sure I would say that it was satisfying to see him get his throat slit, but
yeah. It's a
at the same
gnarly kill too. Like, oh shit.
but you can see like Marvel being Disney, where you
Yeah,
don't see the sword at the back, so you
yeah,
don't
yeah.
see the damage.
I like.
But
You can say like it shows how indifferent the gods are to the mortals, but it's still played out weirdly. Like, I don't like the confliction of tone here.
same here. Like I couldn't take the gods seriously.
Yeah,
Like Christian Bale did such a good job making the scene so heavy, but when it cut to him, I kind of wanted to laugh. The
yeah.
god, I mean, when it cut to the god, I want to laugh. And I don't know if that's the fault of the actor or the director. Um, Probably the director, because for sure,
Mm.
I don't know. I just couldn't take it seriously. And this is a lighthearted movie, but we do start off pretty grim.
Yeah, yeah. And we come to Thor and the Guardians, and they're trying to help this species fight back this other evil species from their temple. But in the process, Thor destroys their temple. I'm like, of all the years working with the Avengers, why are you so clumsy now?
Right. Okay. I will say before we throw our gripes on Thor being an idiot throughout this
Yeah,
movie, I do like it that they kind of go back to this '80s theme.
yeah. Like when
Like,
Guns N' Roses kicks in, you're like, all right, I like this vibe.
no, it wasn't that. It wasn't that. It was the very nostalgic action '80s movie where Thor does like a split holding back two
Oh yeah, yeah,
motorcycles, and then he does like a very cheesy Van Damme kick to
yeah,
another motorcycle. I was like, this is great. I like this, and he's like screaming at the one of the one of the bird
yeah.
species.
One of the Furby birds.
Yeah, they're all both like
Yeah.
that was funny, and we have like Korg pretty much telling the story of Thor while this is happening, and you could see that there's this connection between him and Star Lord now that they've been doing this for a while, which I have a gripe about because okay, I get it. Guardians of the Galaxy with a god kind of seems like a boring plot now, knowing the fact that they have a god on their side.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's kind of easy not to take care of a problem, as we saw in this scene where majority of the Guardians of the Galaxy, actually all of the Guardians of the Galaxy, just stood back, watched Thor do his thing.
Yeah.
So
It
yeah,
makes
but
their job easier.
I kind of like to see a little bit more of their adventures. I would like to see a series of them just doing really stupid shit.
And like one notable absent Guardian is Gamora. Like I wonder where she went, because
Oh yeah,
she's the 2014 version, not the one that died in the end of Infinity War.
yeah,
Uh,
and but yeah, like going back to it, I love the chemistry between him and the Guardians of the Galaxy, where they kind of hate him.
yeah,
And he feels like he's the main character, and I love it.
yeah. Especially when they bring in those goats. Which, by the way, the goats really started to grate on my nerves. I'm like, just shut up.
I like them.
Damn it.
I'm sorry. Like seriously, like every time they would come in, it was like, ah! just, just them screaming, coming out. I was like, I wouldn't mind if I rode that into battle, and not into like a grocery. I would like to ride that into battle. I'm not, I'm not saying that I would rather have that besides my car, over my car. I mean,
But the scene just seems so random. It's just like, alright, you're not doing this for comedy anymore. I mean, you are, but like, it's just so poorly timed for me at least.
it's too funny, haha.
Yeah, yeah,
I will agree. The goats were a little too much.
yeah.
But not
But
gonna
as,
lie, I did like him when they came in.
as we said, Thor seems to be a bit more careless when it comes to collateral damage. You're like, that's weird. Why are you an idiot all of a sudden?
That I don't know, and I really don't know.
Yeah. Uh, and then we cut back to Earth, and I was like, I wonder if they're gonna do the Jane has cancer storyline. And then the MRI answers that. I'm like, oh, okay.
And she's right beside like a student who's reading her book, and he was like, "Oh, I'm the one who wrote that." And she does the Event Horizon.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, enough, Sam Neill is also in this movie.
Right?
Yeah,
Uh, and she's trying to find a cure for her cancer, which is stage 4. And Selvig's like, I'm sorry, I can't do anything. If you need me or if there's something I can do, tell me. Uh, and then she focuses less on science and turns to magic because she reads that Mjolnir can heal warriors. And she's like, alright,
yeah,
it's time to go to New Asgard. And that's where we, as you pointed out, we see Sam Neill and Matt Damon again.
yeah. And to be honest, I kind of wish they were in better roles.
I mean, see,
Like, I really do wish they got Sam Neill for Zeus instead of. Actually, no, I like Russell Crowe. Oh, well, as like a god or something, like a legit god instead of like this flimsy actor.
yeah, I wish he got
That's
Matt
gay.
Damon to do better things.
Oh yeah, you would have been a great villain or something.
Right?
Or
Though I was spoiled by some magazine that said Melissa McCarthy's in the movie. I was like, as who? And then I saw the play, I'm like, oh, she's Hela. All right.
oh right, okay. No, that for me, okay. It's funny. Yeah, seeing Sam Neill and Matt Damon and this other guy, I don't know his name. I'm sorry. It's funny in Thor
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok. They kind of be like pretty much. Well, how does the saying go? Beating a dead something.
Beating a dead horse.
Yeah, there we go. And I'm like, that's what it felt like. And then Melissa McCarthy came out, and I was like,
Like
I was like, well,
I like her in a lot of things, but like here I'm like, all right.
no, again, like I like Melissa McCarthy and other things, but just here it's just a very cheap, funny haha.
Yeah.
And this is the point where I was like, Taika, are you okay? Like, are you okay, my dude?
Yeah. But yeah, that's where Jane goes to, and she hears Mjolnir calling her, and obviously in New Asgard, Valkyrie's in charge, and she's getting all the promotions done, like the commercial stuff. Important
Hmm.
nation running, I guess. But
She wasn't a king no more. She was a president.
yeah, but Mjolnir calls to Jane, and then we cut back to Thor, who gets Thor and the Guardians get these distress signals saying there's this madman killing all the gods, and the Guardians are like, all right, we'll take care of business here, and Thor's like, yeah, I'll spit, and he acts like again the main guy, like, I'll give you my ship, and Star-Lord's like, you're gonna give me my ship, okay?
Yeah, and like it just goes on. Like you can all go without me. I know I'm needed, but this is to my calling or something like that. And we're like, oh yeah, totally. Hurry up! Like they're trying to get like leave as fast as possible.
Yeah,
And we do get that famous scene. It was like, when you're lost, just look into the eyes of your loved ones, and you know where you belong, or something like that. And then, Thor's just doing that. I love that scene. I'm not gonna lie. I
yeah,
like
I
that
like
scene.
it too.
That scene was funny. That scene was
Uh,
funny.
and then we go to the realm where they find Lady Sif. I'm like, all right, you're not dead, right?
Bitch, where were you
Right?
in Ragnarok? Well, thank God, because as Korg pretty much like described, oh, that guy and this guy and that guy I didn't know who all died. I'm
Yeah.
like, wow.
I'm like, all right. No love,
You would have
no
been
even
part of
pressure.
that.
Right.
Yeah, right. Sif would have been part of that. So thank
Yeah.
God she wasn't.
Uh, she's underutilized again here. Like, all right, whatever. I guess Taika Waititi doesn't really care about the Warriors 3.
I will say, again, another scene that was kind of played like watered down. Like it's supposed to be an intense scene where she's like, there's this madman who's killing gods, um and he has this like terrifying sword that could actually kill a god.
Yeah, he has the Necro sword. I forgot what we recall it, but like, yeah. If you know your comics, that sword does belong to the god of the symbiotes.
Mm. Uh, Kirito's sword from Sword Art Online.
Hmm.
Like she was like, at least I'll be in Valhalla, and then it's like, well, like you can see Sif like phoning in the joke, like
Yeah.
at least I could be in Valhalla, and I was like, well, you actually have to die in battle to go to Valhalla, and the battle's over and you survive. And I was like, I'm like, yeah, it's actually a funny line, but it's just like we were from joke to another joke to another joke, and I was like Thor Ragnarok didn't do this. Like there was a little bit of space in between where
Where
we're
they
like,
let
okay,
the drama marinate a bit more.
yeah, and that's
Uh,
what I like.
And then she tells them that New Asgard is next, and he's coming for them. And so Thor goes to New Asgard as it's being attacked. I like the attack sequence where it is creepy, where Gore summons all the dark creatures from the Shadow Realm.
Yeah, like I swear to God, every time Christian Bale comes in, and all you see is his eyes and his silhouette. I was like, that is such a good villain design.
Yeah, yeah,
It's so simple. He's just an ashy dude
yeah.
with a white robe. Like there's not a lot of contrast to him besides his eye. So like for a designer standpoint, I was like, they're doing so much with so little, and it's scaring me.
Yeah. And like he is a very dangerous villain in the comics, and he's the reason why, for a while, Thor couldn't pick up the hammer. Like if you don't know, in the comics, Gore tells Thor that none of the gods are worthy, and that's why he loses the ability to pick it up. But Jane can because she's not a god,
Okay.
and her purpose
Nope.
for seeking the hammer is, I need to heal myself.
I wish that was the case for this one instead of
Yeah,
how it actually turned out.
yeah,
That would have been cooler, but this one's not that bad.
yeah,
The reason why she can pick up the hammer is not that bad.
yeah, and that's where he meets Jane again, and we get the backstory of like, oh, so that's how they broke up.
You gotta love how like, all right, enough, none of this shenanigans. Take off your helmet. Give that back to me. And then like she takes it off, and it's just the slow mo hair, and like, oh, shit, it's my ex, dude. I swear, I love this whole new Mjolnir thing
Yeah,
where it like breaks apart. It becomes like fin funnels from Gundam, and I'm like, and then it comes back. I was like, oh, that's so
her
badass.
entrance is pretty good too. Like she just gets the hammer and the music kicks and she's like, oh shit, all right.
No, the thing you see is like her come in, but from a distance, so you
Yeah,
don't see her at all. But you just see the hammer working it. So like you see Thor having like a Hachiko moment. It's like Mjolnir, Mjolnir, come here, boy.
you're
Like, oh shit.
back, and then goes back to her like, who are you?
Right? And Jesus Christ, when we found out it's Chad May Amidala, like, fuck. What the shit?
Yeah, and for once in the entire MCU, I buy their chemistry.
Right? Right?
Yeah,
Like, like once we found out, I was like, oh, it's Padme. Sorry, Chad May. Um, Korg, like, gives us a whole story where what it looked like after Thor The Dark World, which I really liked. Like,
yeah,
they were a normal couple. So Thor and Jane are like, you get to see their chemistry, and I liked it. I
yeah,
really did. Like, I kind of bought it where she's the scientist, then like Nobel Peace Prize award-winning scientist, while Thor is the Avenger. And I'm like, that's kind of sick. They go to a costume party. They're having very. It was a very wholesome flashback.
yeah.
But then we do get to see like why they fell apart. It's because they were kind of afraid of losing each other. Jane is like, oh, he's also kind of afraid of losing somebody, so they started like distancing themselves. I was like, I like this little piece of backstory. This is a good way of like telling a big missing part of like, oh, what the fuck happened to Jane?
Yeah, and
Instead of like, oh, Natalie Portman just didn't want to do comic book movies anymore.
yeah, and then she breaks up with him by writing a note saying, "Oh, we're done."
Yeah, yeah. And both of them try to gaslight each other as they're trying to. Was like, well, I actually probably you left, and
I like
they're
how
both kind of
Thor is
right.
like, when he sees her, he's like, hi.
He's like trying to get the helmet off.
uh, but he does fight Gore, and Gore's like, I can't win this battle with two Thors, so I'm gonna steal the children of New Asgard. And apparently one of them is Heimdall's kid. Because when he
Yeah,
mentioned, I'm like, Heimdall had the kid? Heimdall had the wife?
yeah. It's like, oh, those are Heimdall's eyes.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Uh, but they discovered that he is hiding in the Shadow Realm. I think that's what you call it. Or the Shadow Universe.
Recipe Yu-Gi-Oh creator.
They're like, we can attack him when he's strongest. We need an army of gods. And like, Thor's like, I know where to go. We go to Omnipotent City.
Oh
Interesting,
yeah,
name.
Omnipotent City.
But
Yeah.
before that, he discovered that the hammer is not doing any favors for Jane because she's still very sick looking. You're like, oh, right.
Oh yeah. Do we explain why now?
Yeah,
Do we... All right, cool. Like, sure, when you hold the hammer, it gives you great help at the moment, but once she lets go of it, it does take a lot of her human form
yeah,
to become Mighty Thor.
yeah,
So the body is trying to fight the cancer, but now the body's like trying to contribute to the power of the hammer instead.
yeah.
Sure, she's healthy at the moment, but once she turns back, she's very sick now. So I'm like,
Oh yeah, and we should mention during the flashback we discover why Mjolnir calls to Jane because Thor cast a spell.
oh yeah, yeah. Thor casts a spell. There's like protect. He pretty much pulled a node in by
Yeah.
accident. It's like
Yeah,
protect.
yeah. But they go to. Well, before that, we discovered there's a love triangle between Thor, Stormbreaker, and Mjolnir. I'm like, huh?
Right? Like this is the first time I've ever like they really went with the joke where like, oh, it seems like you and this hammer had a pretty intimate and close relationship.
Yeah,
And like it was actually real now that like Stormbreaker's kind of like the jealous current girlfriend while the hammer was the one that got away.
yeah.
So I'm like, When was this a thing? When was the axe sentient?
right? To be honest, like again with beating a dead horse, the joke goes for too long for me. I'm like, really? All right, we're still doing this joke.
Right, right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, they go to Omnipotent City, and that's where they discover Galtrum. It's a really hard word to say, apparently.
Omnipotent city.
Yeah, they discover all the gods from like Aztec Quetzal to Bao. I don't know what he's the god of. To Korg's god.
I like Bao.
Yeah,
That was
well,
nice.
Bao's cute.
That was cute. I was like, okay, you know what? Who am I to question that a god does not look like that?
You're right, but they're there to ask Zeus for help, and as you mentioned before, Zeus is played by Russell Crowe.
Hmm. Yeah, and this is actually like a very interesting setting, and I want to expand on it more. Like, we see different gods of the different worlds and across the universe, and it's kind of cool. We get to see like a samurai god, we get to see like Quetzalcoatl, um, wow, and like Korg's god. I forgot how you pronounce his name.
Yeah, me too.
Something tuk tuk, or I don't know. And like I don't know, like I really wish for a show, and I know probably they might, to expand on this world. You know, I want to see more of these gods.
Yeah, same here. But like you see that Zeus is kind of an indifferent dick. You're like, oh, I guess he doesn't care about anyone but himself and the other gods that he favors.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because Thor's like, you need to help us. Like, hey, you know what? Asgard has Asgardian problems, and we gods were fine. Why do we need to meddle in your affairs?
Right. Right. And I was like, oh, reveal yourself, haha. And then he's naked, and all the girls and the guys at the back are like, ah. I was like, yeah, funny scene. I like that scene. I like
Yeah.
that scene. He was in the trailer.
And you see uh, the tattoo of Loki. You're like, oh, right, Thor's a sentient guy, and he doesn't know that Loki is still alive.
Me and my friends lost it when we saw that tattoo. We're like, what the fuck?
I'm just like, Loki must be looking down, and be like, ah, fuck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Jane and Valkyrie battle the gods, but like before that, Thor, no, Zeus zaps Korg into smithereens. Like, oh shit, is that the end of Korg?
Oh yeah, so like they went to Zeus for an army, but instead they just needed the lightning bolt.
Yeah,
So I was like, okay, that I wouldn't mind like them changing it up a bit. But yeah, then they get to the scene where Korg dies. To be honest, I was shocked as fuck. I was like, oh Zeus, you're dead.
yeah,
You are dead. Like this is our baby boy. You don't do this to Korg. And like when Thor just catches the thunderbolt and just tosses it back, and it goes straight through Zeus. I was like,
oh shit.
okay, okay.
Like, is this
Like-
gonna have
like-
a God of War effect? No, not really.
I wish it does.
Right?
I really wish like, oh, this is kind of like high treason now that you
Yeah.
actually attack the king. Like I want that story to for future Thor
Hmm.
movies, like him and his like little Ellie from Last of Us, like going through millions of gods.
Just to get
His little Atreus.
right. Um, but they escape with the lightning bolt, and one of the sentinels.
Thunderbolt.
Lightning. Uses lightning.
No, it's called Thunderbolt.
All right, thunderbolt. And one of these sentinels they come across as the guy from Eternals. I'm like, oh shit, he's here.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so they actually, there's a really cool fight scene where the guards just come in, and to make it PG, they made them like these gold
Blood.
which
Yeah.
was really cool to see, and I really liked it. I love the fight scenes here now. I really do.
Yeah.
It's not cheesy anymore. It's like very fluid. I was like, yeah, like Thor would actually jump up high and just to do a Superman dive punch to another guy. I was like, I'm liking their how they. I don't know. make superhero fights relatable.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And before that, we find out that Thor is in contact with the kids from with with Heimdall's kid. That's how he's able
Yeah.
to project himself. And one
Hmm.
time, the kids are like, "Thor's gonna come save us," and Gore's like, "Oh, really?" Because he heard them talking shit, like, "Ooh, he's gonna behead
This
him."
was fucked up. This is fucked up. Where like Gore just like shows him this eel. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is what was it called again? I forgot. He gave it a name,
Yeah.
so everybody got attached to it, and then he just rips the head off of it. I was like, in front of kids. I was like, this is fucked up,
Like, what? You were just talking about decapitations so briefly a while ago.
right? I was like, oh, okay. Oh, you don't like it? Alright, you guys don't like it. He tosses it away, but it bounces off it into a kid's lap. This shit made me laugh. I was like, alright, scaring kids. Good.
And
Good
then
on you,
again,
Christian
I
Bale.
was like, damn, Christian Bale is really good in this movie.
Like, I like it when Christian Bale, not when he's like, I am Gore the God Butcher with
Yeah.
deep voice, scary voice. No, I like it when he's like calm. Like, he's using his Christian Bale voice.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm very uncomfortable with you. To an equal amount to Joker.
Right. Like, I wonder who we got tips from then.
I guess so.
Then, as they're going to the Shadow Realm, we find out that apparently Stormbreaker can drink alcohol. And Thor's like caressing him like a cat. Like, I don't understand this joke anymore. What's happening?
It is a little bit creepy now. Not gonna lie. Like, it's a little bit weird. I'm like, eh?
Yeah.
I'm a little bit uncomfortable now. I'm like, it's kind of like seeing that video of the dude who's, well, again, to each their own. If you like doing it, go nuts, but it's like very weird. It's like that guy who made that with his car.
Yeah.
Remember seeing that like internet video of a guy who's like kissing his red car? I'm like, kind of feels like that now. It really
Yeah.
does.
And then when the ghosts crash into the moon and they scream, I'm like, just shut up.
No, sorry, man. That got me. I'm sorry. We're two different parallels.
Yeah. It's
That's what got me when we were like, oh shit, we're here. What planet is this? Oh, it's right up close. And you just hear, ah!
I feel like,
I was like, I just
color-
lost it.
The colors one is just black and white, but neither lights the path.
It becomes Macbeth. I'm like, hold on. A24, did you have a hand in this?
right. And like Jane finds out that Gore needs Stormbreaker.
Oh wait, we missed the part. Like on the way to.
All right.
The-
On the way to the moon, Jane confesses that I do have cancer.
Yeah, and before that, Thor was actually trying to like, I want to get back. I want to do better, and like this time I'm not afraid anymore. And Jane, like, what we were expecting was, I would love to go back with you, or whatever answer. She spews out, I have cancer,
Yeah.
and oh, well, Thor being the grown up he is now, he pretty much comforts like Jane, like, hey, we could actually do this together. So whatever it is, we could actually do it together, and we'll be fine. And they have their kiss, and it's nice. And we find out that Korg is actually alive,
Yeah.
and
It's a face.
uh,
And
yeah,
how a species mates.
Oh.
That's interesting.
interesting. I kind of like it though. I'm like, you know what? That makes sense.
Yeah.
It really does.
For
And-
creatures and rocks, why not?
Yeah. I do like it that he does get like a Tom Selleck boyfriend at the end.
Yeah.
And we also find out that Valkyrie's also, gay. So I was like, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
It really does.
Uh,
And I was like, all right. And then these two people just bonding, and then those guys are, doing their thing. And then they hit the moon.
yeah. Alright, didn't they kiss Thor and Jane kiss before that?
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, they hit the moon, and Jane discovers that Gore needs Stormbreaker to summon the Bifrost, because that's the key to unlocking Eternity or Eternium to grant Gore's wish. And that's where the gods are like, we don't want to interfere, or that's why we're so scared of him, because he's gonna wish that we don't exist at all.
Yeah. And again, I find the gods kind of stupid. Well, Mostly Russell Crowe.
And then Jane just hurls Thor's axe into the roof, and he's like, "Why did you do that?" It's like, "Oh, he needed it, by the way."
Yeah, dude, I kind of like this character of Jane. I'm okay. All throughout the movie, I will reveal already. Jane was my favorite character in this movie. Like, okay, they kind of again beating a dead horse joke with her trying to like make her own catchphrase.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, you could let that go now. But when she's like this nerdy, kind of spazzy nerd, but when she's in battle, she's actually really capable, and I love that.
yeah,
When she needs to think on the fly, she does. Where like exactly when she threw the axe up into the window and like to make sure Gore does, like it's kind of like a Zenitsu kind of situation.
Hmm.
Like, oh, it's this dweeby character. No offense to Jane Foster. Um, and then they immediately turn a switch and become this really capable superhero. And I like that dynamic between her and Mighty Thor.
yeah,
Her jumping from here to there, and she doesn't need to fall asleep for it. It's just her. So I was like, I like this. I like this character.
yeah. And then Gore traps him, and again, the sequence is fairly creepy.
Dude, this shit was sick. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, this is very A24 kind of inspired.
Yeah,
With like the dark creatures. Again, they're not very detailed. It's very shadow and it's black and white. But you see them like surround and grab towards this moon, towards Thor and the rest of the gang. I was like, this is so cool. I was like,
Yeah.
this is such a shot. I was like, okay, this is nice.
tells Thor to call the axe because he needs
That
it.
was sick.
Yeah,
That was so sick. I'm sorry. Like Christian Bale going, call the axe. And I was like, oh, Christian Bale's such a good villain.
and like he talked shit to Valkyrie, like, "Oh, you watched your girlfriend die. You were calling for the gods, but they never came."
Mm. With you could see like Valkyrie. Well, that was her character the whole time in Ragnarok, so
Yeah,
she could relate to Gore, so a little bit.
yeah. And then he notices that, oh, to Jane's like, "Oh, you're dying. You think the hammer can heal you, but it's not. It's draining your body."
So we're on the same boat here.
Yeah. And I do like how you see Jane just like, I still want to break out of these chains and kill you.
Mm. Yeah, Chad May's gonna fucking
Yeah.
just naked rear choke you.
And he makes
Rear
Thor,
naked choke, sorry.
yeah. And he makes Thor choose between the axe and the children, or Valkyrie and Jane, because he's strangling them with the vines. He calls the axe, and they have the sick battle. But before that, Jane collapses. I'm like, all right, shit. How's this gonna play out?
Yeah, right. Yeah, we get the fight scene, and as soon as they were winning, were they winning?
They were winning,
Okay.
but
They
Valkyrie does get stabbed.
they have to leave. They can't kill Gore because he has the information on where the kids are,
Yeah,
so they can't just leave. They can't just kill him.
yeah,
So as soon as I think stuff like there were more shadow creatures, they had to
Yeah.
leave.
yeah. And again, Valkyrie tries to take him on, but he stabs her with her own weapon. Like, oh shit, is Valkyrie gonna go now? But yeah, they go back to New Asgard, and I do like the detail
But-
before that.
Yeah, where Gore just comes in and just takes the axe.
Yeah,
I was like,
from the shadow.
oh, yeah, I was like, ah. I really like this villain. I really wish they expanded more on him.
Me
I want
too.
to see him more do horrible things. I want to see him dispatch other gods.
I do agree with Jeremy Johns that where I wish the sword wasn't corrupting him. I just wish it was him being like, fuck the gods.
Exactly. Yeah. I just wanted him to be like just man on a mission. Just be like, fuck everything, fuck the world. Just pure on nihilism,
Yeah.
and just like nothing matters. So I'll kill all of you.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
They go to New Asgard where both Jane and Valkyrie have to be taken to the hospital, and
Yeah.
like Jane's really in a big bad way, and the doctor's like, "I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do at the moment or at all."
Yeah. This is the point where I was kind of getting confused. Because I really thought Jane is gonna replace Thor.
Same here.
So I'm like, so now we have this parable of like, she can't use a hammer anymore because it will kill her. So it was like, oh,
Honestly,
uh,
when they revealed that she had cancer, I'm like, oh, so I was like, well, in the comics, it took a while for it to, really drain her and kill her. So I was like, oh, maybe, 5, 10 movies down the line, it'll happen.
yeah, yeah,
And then when
like,
it's here and now, we're like, oh shit, I guess we don't have a new Thor.
yeah. So I was like, what's happening? So when they mentioned that Gore's gonna go to, like, he's a step closer to, the center of the universe. Yeah, and he's gonna make a wish.
He
I was
said
like,
he's
oh,
too much No Man's Sky. It's like I really want to see what's in the center.
there's nothing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I played it. I'm like, it's nothing.
I know.
It's another like nebula, I guess, or something.
Uh,
Anyway, I thought it was like, oh, but Thor's gonna go there, or they're gonna get there because they have to show this magical place from Kimetsu no Yaiba, Tanjiro's mind.
yeah.
Like they have to show it. So I was like, oh shit, they're gonna get the wish, and they're gonna wish Jane's health back. And I was like, yeah, that's what's gonna happen. So like Thor was like, all right, you stay here, you have to live. Like for me, like mostly for Thor, I'm like, okay, there's a point where Thor's kind of being selfish, but like in a most human way possible.
Yeah.
And I like it. I really do. And so Thor just goes on a solo mission, without
When
Valkyrie, without
when Gore was approaching Eternity or Eternium, there's a head formation. I'm like, that looks really familiar.
right. Me, we're like, oh, wait a minute.
I'm like, is Galactus like guarding? Oh, never mind. Okay.
I don't know if it's just a random shape.
Yeah. I'm like, damn it, Marvel, stop teasing me with the head shapes. First it's Eternals, now it's Thor. I'm like, fuck.
Right?
That also me. That's really. I'll save that for later. Where it's my big complaint of the MCU now. But as for now, yeah, Gore goes into Eternity and Thor stops him, and he also shares his power with the kids. That just
Um,
confused me. I'm like, when could you do that?
is it with just Thunderbolt, or can you do that regardless of what, like,
Whatever weapon you have. Because if you
which,
can, what the fuck happened in Wakanda?
right? They could have won.
Right?
I think it could have just like give them the power of Thor for today, then charge. I'm
Yeah.
like, Tony Stark would have lived.
Right.
Like, for fuck's sake. Yeah, this is the weird continuity now. Like, Thor can do this the whole time.
Yeah.
It would have been such big help. It would make sense if only Thunderbolt can do that.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Okay, that might be the case. I don't know. Then how does Thor know how to do that then?
Yeah,
It's so
because it's not. He hasn't been. Unless Odin said, "Hey, if you steal Zeus's thunderbolt, then you can share your powers." Like that's a weird instruction, but thanks, Dad.
Right? So, like, yeah, I wish we kind of got like a little bit of an answer of like why Thor can actually share his powers,
Yeah.
but I guess we don't. And I would say it was a little bit cheesy.
Oh, jeez.
You could say, okay, you can
Especially
have the
when you
argument.
get the bunny
No, no.
rabbit. Like,
Yeah,
alright.
no, I kind of like that. I'm sorry, I laughed at that part where she was just Billy Butcher, just like doing the baby thing.
Oh yeah.
That's what it reminded me of. But like, I will say, like, it was cheesy because like, I don't know, like really, you have to involve the kids. Like,
Right.
come on.
Like, but yeah, he fights Gore and the kids fight the shadow creatures, and yeah, I agree. Like, I guess they have to factor in somehow.
I guess, but dude, like, again, you could argue that this whole movie's so cheesy. So like, why is this a problem? Like, well, yeah, every time it goes cheesy, it's ruining the movie for me. I don't like it. The kids got powers. The kids are starting to fight, and they found weapons from somewhere. I'm like, what the fuck's happening here?
Right?
I kind of just wish like Thor was soloing it. Dude really needed Chad May to come in like desperately because he's a one man army now.
Yeah.
Like sorry, he's he's pretty much alone. That's when it would have felt more, the gravity of the situation. Instead, we had this whole funny haha kids moment. Not gonna lie, choreography was pretty good. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
The choreography for the kids were pretty good. But then again, like it kind of took away the moment.
Yeah, but I do like the callback to Endgame because when Jane hears the call, he's like, he decides like, no, I'm gonna fight. Thor's about to be stabbed by Gore. Remember when Thanos is about to kill
Yeah, yeah.
Thor?
Okay.
Yeah, and then someone throws the hammer at the villain, and you see it's Jane, and Thor has this look like, oh, okay, this is your decision.
Right. I like that.
Yeah,
No, this is again. I really wish the kids were here. I really wish Bifrost take the kids away. I will solo this guy.
yeah,
Like, there's the only choice. My girlfriend's dying. The president of New Asgard is mortally wounded. I'm on my own. And then Jane comes in. And then that's when you're like, fuck. But they needed her to come in.
yeah. But it is a sweet fight between Gore and her, and I like the. He calls her, what does he call her? Lady Thor. He's like, I'm not Lady Thor. I am the mighty Thor. I'm like, alright. Or
Yeah.
Dr. Jane Foster. I'm like, why not?
And thirdly, eat my hammer. I'm like, no, not gonna lie, it worked.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
The second one, I'm like, well, you earned that title fair and square.
Mm.
Then Thor gets to break Stormbreaker from its holding place, and they both get to break Gore's sword, right?
Yeah.
But before that, there's an explosion. I forgot from where, but it cracks one half of her visor. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, yeah, after she, like, destroys... Like, did she destroy Gore's sword by then?
Partially.
Or...
That's why there was an explosion. And she
right.
ended it completely.
Oh, yeah, where... That was actually a really smart idea. Since, like, it could actually, like, reassemble itself like some shit in Lord of the Rings. She smashes it with, like, thunder shit. And I'm like, oh, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
But, sad to say, the gate's already open.
Yeah.
Sure, Gore's dying, but he makes it through. And so does Thor and Jane.
And he tells Gore to stop, and he's like, why? That's what I wanted. Like, no, we don't want revenge, we want love. At that point, I'm like, wow, talk about 80s cheese.
Yeah.
Cheese. It's a
And
lot
I
of
was
fucking
like-
cheese.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
What'd you say? I'm for sure even Christian Bale was kind of like,
Yeah, that's why he had to look like, excuse me?
right? And I'm like, okay, cool, we'll stick to love. It does make sense, but at the same time, I wish they wrote it better.
Yeah. And then Thor goes up to be with Jane. I think the rules is that the first one there gets to make the one wish, and there can't be two people wishing. So that's why he didn't wish for her illness to go away at that time. But at the same time, it's like, why such a strange rule? Alright. What kind of god are you if you can only grant one wish? Alright.
Well, I mean, I guess that's like the cost of it. Like, this is a world-breaking wish. You could actually bring somebody back.
Yeah.
And there are so many people that Thor could have brought back with one wish.
Yeah. Like,
I think it would have broke the meta. Yeah, I think it would have broke the meta.
Yeah.
So like, so for Gore to make the wish selfishly to bring his daughter back, I was like, okay. I really thought like Gore like looked at Natalie Portman and was like, oh, my whole journey was kind of like, shit, and the sword's not corrupting me anymore.
Yeah.
I guess since I lost my loved one, I don't want you to lose yours. And then, he probably changes his mind and gives Jane her health back and Thor can retire. That wasn't the case. He brings his daughter back. Jane dies in Tanjiro's mind. And, like, this was actually a very sad scene for me.
Yeah. She whispers something that they haven't revealed since. I'm like, oh, okay. And it's a beautiful scene, and she goes the way of Odin, and Gore's daughter comes back, and he says his goodbyes and he dies, and you're like, shit. Oh, before that, he asked Thor to protect her.
Yeah, and Jane was kind of like, open your heart, like don't close it off, because Thor did mention like when they broke up, he closed his heart off to a lot of people, and that's why he didn't really look for a new love. And now she's asking him to open it up again, and for sure it's for this little girl.
Yeah, and then we cut to New Asgard where the kids are safe because Thor gave them Stormbreaker to escape. Uh, and Heimdall's kid is reunited with his wife. What the kid's name? Axel, right? From Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we learned that Valkyrie and Lady Sif were training the kids now. And oh, you're frozen. No.
Yeah, and
You froze.
no, maybe I was staying still.
Oh, okay. Never mind. You were responding at all. I'm like, oh man, he's really deep in thought. Never mind. But yeah.
I was deep in thought. I was like trying to think. I was like, what else happened in this ending? But yeah, it was a sad moment though, cause like I really thought Jane was gonna replace. I would have loved to have seen Jane take
Me
up
too.
the Thor mantle and continue on. And I thought Thor might have died or like retired, and he's like, cause that's what he always wanted, right? He wanted
Yeah.
like to be in a peaceful world and just let it go, and until somebody calls for
And
him.
then it could have just been Jane and Thor's kid, and they could have been Love and Thunder, and that's where the title
Yeah.
came from.
Yeah,
like-
I really thought that, like, oh shit, Thor will give his life, and Jane would be in health, and she's the one who's gonna take care of the kid.
Yeah, I'm confused. I was as confused as you. I'm like, why tease us with a new thing if we're going to take it away?
Right, so I really thought she was gonna be there for a while, but no, Jane's dead. And kind of, not really a waste. I would say it was a good movie for Natalie Portman.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I really wish they kept her.
yeah. And there are two after credit scenes. One is Zeus saying, like, they know the mortals no longer fear us. They used to pray for everything, and now it's the time. Now is the time we go back to our roots and make them fear us. Do your best, Hercules. Like, yes, Father.
And
I
that was
was
so
like,
cheesy.
I forgot. I'm like,
Okay.
all right, Hercules exists here.
Yeah, and it was so cheesy because he's like, eh, and I'm like, okay. I'm sorry. A lot of the things here, sure, I get it. You're not supposed to take it too seriously, but then you put in scenes where I have to be like, oh shit, now it's sad, and I can't. And now here you're like saying that this is a very intense moment, but there's too many funny ha-has for me to take it seriously. Now this guy's going. I'm like, And there's another after credit scene where we find out that Valhalla is real. Well, sorry. Yeah, Valhalla. Like Valhalla's real, and Jane goes to Valhalla because she was worthy enough because she died in battle. Heimdall's there, so I'm guessing like, can they come back?
I wish.
I hope so. It looks amazing. It looks
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. Well, honestly, this movie is kind of a letdown for me because it's like, again, like there's too much comedy that oversaturates the dramatic moments. Sure, some of the dramatic moments do play powerfully well, especially at Jane's end, but like the rest are like, why is Thor such an idiot now? Like when he summons the Bifrost in a building, like I thought he knew better than that.
Right? And like especially in the first movie, like he goes outside so he doesn't break whatever he's inside of. Like, I don't know. I don't know. There's a sweet ending that like him and this little girl become father and daughter, and they go to planets where there's war, and I guess they take them out. But I don't know if you could notice, if you look at the kid's hand holding
Stormbreaker.
Stormbreaker, it's digitally put in, so you
Yeah.
kind of see it like glitch out from here to there.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, she's not really holding it.
Yeah. Oh well. But yeah. What would
No, I kind of wish they gave her Mjolnir instead.
Yeah.
Like it would have fit her. Like, why did you have to give her Stormbreaker? I get it that Thor's attached to it. Sorry, nitpicks, but like that.
That being said, what would you rate this one?
Um, Sad to say, I really like Taika Waititi. I like his movies, I really do. But this one was just too much.
Yeah,
Like, it was too much funny ha-has. And when Taika was asking for us to be sad at the moment or serious at the moment, we were kind of more of like expecting the next joke to come in.
yeah.
And sometimes it does. Like, it does come in, and then once we're already like, oh, it was supposed to be a serious moment, but then there's another funny haha. I'm trademarking that funny ha-has. Um, like, again, it takes us out of the movie from here to there, and it does ruin it. Or like, again, they're beating a dead horse with the same thing all over and over again. The goats for me funny, for Enzo not so much. And I'm like, yeah, I could see where Enzo's coming from. I wish they expanded more on Christian Bale's character. I wish they kept him alive. I don't know. Again, it was just too much.
So what's your rating?
Oh, sorry, right. It's a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'll give this 5 as well. Like, the only reason why I'll ever go back and watch this one is for Jane and Gore, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Because they really did carry this movie, and like I feel bad for Bale and Ford. I'm like, please go to a chiropractor, because he did really good in this one.
Yeah.
The rest of the movie I don't care for. I'm like, none of the gods really interest me. Like Zeus is cool, but like they didn't really do anything with him except for him being a dick. You're like, okay, of course.
Yeah, and like, especially the Guardians of the Galaxy, like, they were there for a hot second, and then now they're gone.
Yeah. Uh, and like as I said before, like that's the complaint I have with the MCU, and I was like, what direction are we going at?
Yeah. Like, the only cohesive direction that we know we're going is from the shows.
Yeah. Or like we all know that there's a multiverse, but like it just seems like that's a cool reason to pull, cool characters like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man or John Krasinski's Mr. Fantastic, but there's not really, like we're heading to a Thanos event, or
Yeah.
are we gonna fight
Well,
not Korg,
Kang.
Kang. I was supposed to say Krang. Like nope, that's Star Trek.
Ah!
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I agree. Like, like for Loki, that's the only time we got a Thanos moment,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay. But now, like, with all these branched out possibilities, we don't know where we're going.
Yeah.
So this is very odd, and for sure, I don't know if Disney or the MCU has like some cohesive plan. They're just giving us side stories. Hopefully, they have a cohesive plan where it all comes into one thing and it all makes sense.
Yeah. Like when Kevin Feige was like, "We're gonna reveal our big bad to him," like, isn't it Kang? What the fuck are we doing then?
Exactly. Or are you really going with Galactus here, since you've been hinting at his head shape for like the past fucking how many years?
2 years or at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just I guess I just miss the old days where we're like, we know what we're building up to, and we can't wait. Now we're just like, what direction are we going at?
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully they tell us our plan. I think that's where they're going to San Diego Comic Con to reveal stuff.
Hopefully, I would love to see what they have next. Sadly, sad to say, Thor: Love and Thunder. Even though I love Taika Waititi, it's not really his best work.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not one of the best of the MCU's. But yeah, that's been our video on Thor: Love and Thunder. What do you guys think? Comment below. Be cool about it. If you want to know where you can find us, we can find us reacting to trailers on Facebook at facebook.com/geeksanddegenerates. React to trailers. We live stream video games and about our lives from time to time. If you want to see us without our faces, you can go to our Spotify podcast and you can listen to us on the go. And for YouTube, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ding the bell icon to get notified of when we upload next. Individually, you can find me at Yandalfus1995 on IG and Twitter. How about you?
Oh, you can find me at JohnGOM on Instagram. It is my art account.
And things may be improving, but please always remember to stay safe, wear a mask, social distance, and get vaccinated if you can. You can drink your coffee, it's fine. And get your booster for fuck's sake.
Oh, I was.
But you just sit like.
Oh no, no, there was a drop that was like falling on the glass.
Okay. But yeah, for this video at least, we have reached the end of it. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye, everybody.
Yeah.